Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
On WLIR Hampton Bays. It's the 77 WABC News Hour. Talking the news with Noam Laden. All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now, Talking the news with Noam on 77 WABC.
It is not Noam Laden. It is Liz Rattoballi here on the 5 o'clock News Hour Weekend Edition. Not Weekend Edition. It is actually Friday, January 2nd. Force of habit. Before we get into your top stories of the day, first up, your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Desk. Today it's going to be cloudy skies with a high of 29 degrees. Tonight and overnight, partly clear with a low of 20. Tomorrow it's going to be cloudy once again. High of 31, and Sunday some sun comes out with a high of 33. Right now it is 21 and cloudy skies outside our Midtown studios.
This is the Top 5 at 5.
Mayor Mamdani officially takes office. A man is shoved into a moving subway train on New Year's. Healthcare premiums spike with the expiration of Obamacare subsidies. Speaking of health, the president addressing his status. Finally, meet the first baby of the new year here in the Big Apple. Mayor Zoran Mamdani was sworn in yesterday. We have a ton of audio to play from his address, but let's start with speakers before him. Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez addressed the crowd, said New Yorkers have chosen a new future.
Together, this ascent marks a new era for New York City. Led by a historic new mayor in Zoran Mamdani, guided by his dedication to a working class that makes our beautiful city run. Importantly, I also ask that we consider today an inauguration for each one of us, too. The nearly 8.5 million New Yorkers who make up the greatest city on earth. Because it is the people of New York City who have chosen historic, ambitious leadership in response to untenable and unprecedented times. New York, we have chosen courage over fear. We have chosen prosperity for the many over spoils for the few. And when the entrenched ways would rather have us dig in our feet and seek refuge in the past, we have chosen instead to turn towards making a new future for all of us.
The Congresswoman also spoke about the agenda that Mamdani campaigned on.
In Zoran Mamdani, we have chosen a mayor who is relentlessly dedicated to making life not just possible, but aspirational for working people. New York City has chosen the ambitious pursuit of universal child care, affordable rent and housing, and clean and dignified public transit for all. And we have chosen that over the distractions of bigotry and the barbarism of extreme income inequality. We have chosen this path because we know that it's the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do, and that if we can make it here, we can make it anywhere.
She went on to say that the new mayor is making history.
Zoran Mamdani will be the first Muslim mayor of our great city. He will be our first immigrant mayor in over a century. And he will be the youngest mayor of New York City in generations. But most importantly, Zoran will be a mayor for all of us.
Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders was also there. He swore in Mayor Mamdani. He spoke about the big upset as well.
At a moment when people in America, and in fact throughout the world, are losing faith in democracy, over 90,000 of you in this city volunteered for Zoran's campaign. You knocked on doors. You shared your dreams and your hopes for the future of this city. And in the process, you took on the Democratic establishment, the Republican establishment, the President of the United States, and some enormously wealthy oligarchs. And you defeated them in the biggest political upset in modern American history. You showed the world the most important lesson that can be learned today, and that is that when working people stand together, when we don't let them divide us up, there is nothing we cannot accomplish.
Sanders defended the policies of Mamdani that he ran on.
Grassroots democracy and people participating in the day-to-day struggles of this city will lead to good governance. Please remain involved. You know, all of us have heard how Zoran's opponents have called the agenda that he campaigned on radical, communistic, and absolutely unachievable. Really? That's not what we believe. In the richest country in the history of the world, making sure that people can live in affordable housing is not radical. It is the right and decent thing to do. And in the midst of a massive housing crisis, it is exactly what the people of this city and this country want and need. Providing free and high-quality child care is not radical. Countries all over the world have done it for years. It is what our kids require if they're going to be well prepared for school, and what working parents desperately need. It is, in fact, what every city in America should be doing. Free bus transportation is not radical. It will save workers time and money, protect our environment, and make the city more efficient. And making sure that every family in the city, regardless of income, has access to decent, quality food at an affordable cost is not radical. Good nutrition keeps us healthy, helps prevent chronic illnesses. In the long run, city-sponsored grocery stores will save society money.
A tax the rich chant also broke out.
Demanding that the wealthy and large corporations start paying their fair share of taxes. As I was saying, demanding that the wealthy and large corporations start paying their fair share of taxes. It's not radical. It is exactly the right thing to do.
So now here's Sanders swearing in the new mayor.
Please repeat after me. I, Zahran Kwame Mamdani,
I, Zahran Kwame Mamdani,
do solemnly swear
that
I will support the Constitution of the United States,
I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Charter of the City of New York,
and the Charter of the City of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of the Mayor of the City of New York,
of the office of the Mayor of the City of New York,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All right, so now let's get into the address from Mamdani. He said he will work to restore trust in government.
Beginning today, we will govern expansively and audaciously. We may not always succeed, but never will we be accused of lacking the courage to try. To those who insist that the era of big government is over, hear me when I say this. No longer will City Hall hesitate to use its power to improve New Yorkers' lives. For too long, we have turned to the private sector for greatness while accepting mediocrity from those who serve the public. I cannot blame anyone who has come to question the role of government, whose faith in democracy has been eroded by decades of apathy. We will restore that trust by walking a different path. One where government is no longer solely the final recourse for those struggling. One where excellence is no longer the exception. We expect greatness from the cooks wielding 1,000 spices, from those who stride out onto our Broadway stages, and from our starting point guard at Madison Square Garden. Let us demand the same from those who work in government. In a city where the mere names of our streets are associated with the innovation of the industries that call them home, we will make the word City Hall synonymous with both resolve and results.
He dismissed calls to pull back on some of his campaign promises.
In writing this address, I have been told that this is the occasion to reset expectations, that I should use this opportunity to encourage the people of New York to ask for little and expect even less. I will do no such thing. The only expectation I seek to reset is that of small expectations. Beginning today, we will govern expansively and audaciously. We may not always succeed, but never will we be accused of lacking the courage to try.
He said he would never hide from his constituents.
I stand alongside over 1 million New Yorkers who voted for this day nearly 2 months ago. And I stand just as resolutely alongside those who did not. I know there are some who view this administration with distrust or disdain, or who see politics as permanently broken. And while only action can change minds, I promise you this: if you are a New Yorker, I am your mayor. Regardless of whether we agree, I will protect you, celebrate with you, mourn alongside you, and never, not for a second, hide from you.
He gave some shout-outs to political leaders he seeks to model himself after.
Thank you to the two titans who, as an assembly member, I've had the privilege of being represented by in Congress, Nydia Velázquez, and our incredible opening speaker, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. You have paved the way for this moment. Thank you to the man whose leadership I seek most to emulate, who I am so grateful to be sworn in by today, Senator Bernie Sanders.
He went on into those 3 campaign promises he made on the trail himself.
Here, where the language of the New Deal was born, We will return the vast resources of this city to the workers who call it home. Not only will we make it possible for every New Yorker to afford a life they love once again, we will overcome the isolation that too many feel and connect the people of this city to one another. The cost of childcare will no longer discourage young adults from starting a family, because we will deliver universal childcare for the many by taxing the wealthiest few. Those in rent-stabilized homes will no longer dread the latest rent hike, because we will freeze the rent. Getting on a bus without worrying about a fare hike or whether you'll be able to get to your destination on time will no longer be deemed a small miracle, because we will make those buses fast and free. These policies are not simply about the costs we make free, but the lives we fill with freedom. For too long in our city, freedom has belonged only to those who can afford to buy it. Our city hall will change that. These promises carried our movement to City Hall, and they will carry us from the rallying cries of a campaign to the realities of a new era in politics.
He also got a little lighthearted and joked about the charm of New York.
The city where I took a beautiful woman named Rama to McCarran Park on our first date and swore a different oath to become an American citizen on Pearl Street. To live in New York, to love New York, is to know that we are the stewards of something without equal in our world. Where else can you hear the sound of the steel pan, savor the smell of sancocho, and pay $9 for coffee on the same block? Where else could a Muslim kid like me grow up eating bagels and lox every Sunday? That love will be our guide as we pursue our agenda. Here, where the language of the New Deal was born, we will return the vast resources of this city to the workers who call it home.
Some boos also broke out in the crowd when Mamdani mentioned his predecessor, Eric Adams, who was in attendance as well.
Thank you to Governor Hochul. Thank you as well to Mayor Adams.
Mamdani also making it clear how he plans to govern.
Here is what I want you to expect from the administration that this morning moved into the building behind me. We will transform the culture of City Hall from one of no to one of how. We will answer to all New Yorkers, not to any billionaire or oligarch who thinks they can buy our democracy. We will govern without shame and insecurity, making no apology for what we believe. I was elected as a democratic socialist, and I will govern as a democratic socialist. I will not abandon my principles for fear of being deemed radical. As the great senator from Vermont once said, what's radical is a system which gives so much to so few and denies so many people the basic necessities of life. We will strive each day to ensure that no New Yorker is priced out of any one of those basic necessities. And throughout it all, we will, in the words of Jason Terrence Phillips, better known as Jadakiss or Jay to the moi, be outside. Because this is a government of New York, by New York, and for New York.
He closed out his speech by tackling an existential question for the city.
In so doing, we will provide our own answer to that age-old question. Who does New York belong to? Well, my friends, we can look to Madiba and the South African Freedom Charter. New York belongs to all who live in it. Together, we will tell a new story of our city. This will not be a tale of one city governed only by the 1%, nor will it be a tale of two cities, the rich versus the poor. It will be a tale of 8.5 million cities, each of them a New Yorker with hopes and fears, each a universe, each of them woven together. The authors of this story will speak Pashto and Mandarin, Yiddish and Creole. They will pray in mosques, at shul, at church, at gurudwaras and mandirs and temples. And many will not pray at all. They will be Russian Jewish immigrants in Brighton Beach, Italians in Rossville, and Irish families in Woodhaven, many of whom came here with nothing but a dream of a better life, a dream which has withered away. They will be young people in cramped Marble Hill apartments where the walls shake when the subway passes. They will be black homeowners in St. Albans, whose homes represent a physical testament to triumph over decades of lesser-paid labor and redlining. They will be Palestinian New Yorkers in Bay Ridge, who will no longer have to contend with a politics that speaks of universalism and then makes them the exception. Few of these 8.5 million will fit into neat and easy boxes. Some will be voters from Hillside Avenue or Fordham Road who supported President Trump a year before they voted for me, tired of being failed by their party's establishment. The majority will not use the language that we often expect from those who wield influence. I welcome the change. For too long, those fluent in the good grammar of civility have deployed decorum to mask agendas of cruelty. Many of these people have been betrayed by the established order. But in our administration, their needs will be met. Their hopes and dreams and interests will be reflected transparently in government. They will shape our future. And if for too long these communities have existed as distinct from one another, we will draw this city closer together. We will replace the frigidity of rugged individualism with the warmth of collectivism. If our campaign demonstrated that the people of New York yearn for solidarity, then let this government foster it. Because no matter what you eat, how you pray, or where you come from, the words that most define us are the two we all share: New Yorkers.
Notably, Mamdani did not criticize President Trump in his more than 3,000-word speech. A 72-year-old man was shoved into a moving train during an unprovoked attack on a Bronx subway station on New Year's Day. The victim was pushed while he was waiting for the southbound number 4 train at 161st Street, Yankee Stadium in Grand Concourse around 3:30 yesterday, according to the NYPD. The strap hanger was shoved into the number 4 train, and as it was entering the station, he ended up bouncing off the train, landing back on the platform. The victim was taken to the hospital with head injuries. He is luckily in stable condition. A man from Brooklyn, Anton Alishin, 29 years old, he was arrested shortly after that incident, charged with attempted murder, assault, and reckless endangerment. Insurance subsidies that have helped millions of Americans pay for health coverage have ended with the new year. The Affordable Care Act subsidies, or premium tax credits, help lower or eliminate the out-of-pocket monthly cost of premiums for those who purchase coverage through the health insurance marketplace. Eligibility for those subsidies can be determined by factors such as household income and your location. The subsidies were all part of the original Obamacare passed during the Obama administration. They were enhanced during the COVID-19 pandemic to increase the amount of financial assistance to those who are already eligible, and they expanded eligibility to more people as well. An estimated 22 million of the 24 million ACA marketplace enrollees currently receiving those enhanced premium tax credits to lower their monthly premiums. But that is over as of now, as of 2026. In October and November, the subsidies were a sticking point during the longest government shutdown in American history. One man spoke with ABC News how this all affects him.
We're going to have to figure it out.
Doug Bouchard and his wife, who has ALS, expect their monthly costs to soar. He retired early as a mechanic so he could care for his wife.
We do have money saved, but that's supposed to last lot longer than a year or two.
Republicans said the expansions from the pandemic era went too far and tried to persuade Democrats to find a temporary spending bill that didn't address the expiring ACA subsidies with promises of trying to continue the subsidies later. Meanwhile, Democrats insisted on extending those credits as part of a bill to end the shutdown, warning that their expiration could be detrimental for millions of Americans. However, in early November, the Senate reached a bipartisan deal to end the shutdown. That deal did not include any of those demands on health care. 8 Democrats voted with Republicans, and the bill was later passed by the House. Sources told ABC News that Republican leadership promised to allow a vote on a bill of Democrats' choosing related to the ACA in December, but a pair of competing health care-related bills failed to advance in the Senate earlier this month. Now, this month, the House is expected to vote on a Democrat-led bill that would see the enhanced premium tax credits extended by 3 years. Estimates from the Congressional Budget Office have suggested that without an extension, gross benchmark premiums, the price of a standard plan before government subsidies, could increase by 4.3% as of this year and 7% in 2027 for those on those marketplace plans. A KFF analysis last month found that people who buy insurance from the marketplace and receive financial assistance could see their premiums rise about 114% on average, from around $888 in 2025 to over $1,900 in 2026. President Trump dismissing concerns about his health related to his age during a Wall Street Journal interview published yesterday, declaring, "My health is perfect." The 79-year-old last year became the oldest president to ever be inaugurated, and questions have been raised about his health similar to those that were asked about President Biden, a former President Biden, whom Trump did mock during the 2024 presidential campaign as weak before Biden ended up dropping out of the race. So Trump expressed regret about having advanced imaging in October because of all the pushback he's faced since then. He said, in retrospect, "It's too bad I took it because it gave them a little ammunition. I would have been a lot better off if they didn't, because the fact that I took it said, oh, gee, is something wrong? Well, nothing's wrong." After earlier saying he had an MRI scan during his October medical exam at Walter Reed National Military Center, Trump told the Wall Street Journal he had a CT scan. His doctor, Navy Captain Sean Barbarella, also agreed. He said it wasn't an MRI. It was less than that. It was a scan, Barbarella said in October. Trump's second medical exam at the hospital since returning to office included advanced imaging without going into further detail. Trump told reporters that he had a magnetic resonance imaging scan, which uses magnetic fields and radio waves to produce detailed images of organs and tissues in the body. He pledged in late October to release his, quote, perfect MRI results, adding that it was just an MRI. It wasn't the brain because I took a cognitive test and I aced it. On Trump's hand bruises that have been spotted and been reported by the press during the interview, Trump blamed his years of taking high doses of aspirin for cardiac prevention for those bruises on his hand that sparked rumors about his health. Trump said that doctors would rather he took a lower dose. "I take the larger one, but I've done it for years, and what it does do is it causes bruising." On his overall health, Trump described exercise that's not golf as boring. He said he took after his parents, who remained energetic into their early years. He says, "Genetics are important, and I have very good genetics." Well, finally, it is a new year, and New York City's first baby was born at Harlem Hospital at the stroke of midnight. That's according to NYC Health and Hospitals. Parents Omi Nyang and Amadou Nyang welcomed a baby girl who is yet to be named at exactly 12 a.m. on Thursday morning. She is the couple's fifth child and weighed over just 7 pounds at birth. The mother said the child is in good health. The family is originally from Senegal and moved to the city in 2006. They currently do live in Harlem. In adherence with their traditions, The family said the name of the baby will be announced at a celebration 7 days after her birth. She says in her culture, you have to hide the name for at least 1 week.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour. Talking the news with Noam Laden. All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now, Talking the News with Noam on 77 WABC.
Good morning. It is not Noam Laden. It's Liz Rattoballi here on the 5 o'clock news hour this Friday, January 2nd. Before we get back into your news, your forecast from the 77 WABC weather desk. Today, it's going to be cloudy skies with a high of 29 degrees. Tonight and overnight, partly clear with a low of 20. Tomorrow, cloudy once again with a high of 31, and Sunday some sun with a high of 33. Right now it is 21 and cloudy outside our Midtown studios.
77 WABC News. Local news is our specialty.
ICE will no longer hold migrant detainees in Suffolk County for more than 12 hours after a judge accused the agency of lying to the court and operating inhumanely and unlawfully. The agency will now have to limit its detention at central Islip federal courthouses in the holding room out on Long Island, including by not keeping detainees overnight, and they'll also transfer everyone out of their facilities each evening, according to newly unsealed documents from the government to U.S. District Judge Gary Brown. The shift comes after Brown, a Trump appointee, threatened ICE with contempt over conditions inside the holding cells at the courthouse, where multiple detainees were allegedly confined overnight in a cramped room with an open toilet, no bedding, and constant lighting. Brown accused the agency of submitting demonstrably false court filings over the issue and subjecting detainees to inhumane and unlawful treatment. The government later acknowledged its errors in court filings. Brown has not yet ruled on whether he would hold ICE or the Department of Homeland Security in contempt over the issues, but said further action could follow if the agency fails to fully comply with court orders and correct the record, according to court documents. U.S. Attorney Joseph Nisella asked for more time to adequately address each concern the judges raised, asking to give the government until January 23rd to fully respond to the order. Federal officials also said ICE has now taken photographs of the Central Islip holding room and will submit them to the court under seal for review, citing security and operational concerns. New York City also has a new Department of Transportation commissioner, Mayor Zoran Mamdani naming Mike Flynn to the job.
To make this streetscape and the public transit of the city we call home the envy of the world. And it will require someone who's experienced, who is fluent in the landscape as it is.
The mayor says Flynn has more than 2 decades of experience, including at the city's DOT and what used to be called Sam Schwartz Engineering, where Flynn supported teams of engineers, planners, and designers related to different transportation projects. Mamdani says he'll help advance economic opportunity, social equity, and environmental sustainability. A hit-and-run driver has killed one city pedestrian and actually left another clinging to life. This happened on New Year's Day in Queens. One person dead, a 24-year-old man in critical condition. The two were crossing 102nd Street in Corona when the driver of a white SUV traveling southbound slammed into them just after 4 a.m. The motorist then fled the scene. Medics rushed the 24-year-old pedestrian to the hospital in Elmhurst, where he's listed in critical condition. The other, whose age and identity police are trying to verify, did pass away at the scene. It marked the first deadly Big Apple crash of the new year. Last year, 203 people were killed in crashes citywide through December 28th. Cops said the driver has yet to be caught. 77 WABC News time is 5:38. Now here's Mark Mayfield with the latest news in technology.
A Waymo reportedly drove straight into an active fire scene on Monday night, KABC TV says the robo-taxi drove past road flares in Hollywood that were set up by the Los Angeles Fire Department. Witnesses say the Waymo sat there with a passenger inside for 10 minutes before it did a U-turn and left. SoftBank reportedly has completed its $40 billion investment in OpenAI. CNBC says the Japanese firm sent over about $22 billion just last week. The investment means SoftBank now owns about 11% of OpenAI. In a rare move, Tesla is previewing what it says will be a downbeat report about fourth quarter deliveries. The electric car maker says it expects year-over-year drop of about 15%. Some analysts think that Tesla is trying to prepare the market for bad news. And Meta is buying Manus as it continues to snap up AI companies. The Chinese startup is now based in Singapore and recently launched an AI agent that can do complex tasks like coding. Terms of the deal have not yet been announced. Tech Report, I'm Mark Mayfield.
Justin Ellick is out today, but filling in for sports, we have James Flippin.
The semifinal round of the college football playoff is now set. Number 5 Oregon shut out 4th-seeded Texas 23-zip in the Orange Bowl from Miami to advance. And top-ranked Indiana blew out number 9 Alabama 38-3 at the Rose Bowl from Pasadena last night. The Ducks and Hoosiers duel at the Peach Bowl from Atlanta next Friday. Meanwhile, 6th-seeded Ole Miss took down Georgia 39-34 in an instant classic at the Sugar Bowl from New Orleans. It was a wild finish where a safety occurred with 1 second left on the clock, and so after a free kick that Ole Miss chose not to recover, the clock didn't just run out. Bulldogs had a chance to run one last play. Ole Miss's coaching staff was furious, including former Giants head coach Joe Judge, but a multilateral play for Georgia ended up being tackled. The game was over, and so the Rebels square off against number 10 Miami in the Fiesta Bowl from Glendale next Thursday. The Rebels, without Lane Kiffin, 2 wins away from their second national championship ever since they tied with Minnesota for the championship in 1960. On the hardwood, former Nets star Kevin Durant helped his new team, the Houston Rockets, beat up on Brooklyn in Texas. Durant had 22 points. 6 Rockets scored 14 points or more as Houston took it 120-96. Cam Thomas led Brooklyn with 21 points off the bench. The Nets have dropped back-to-back games. The Knicks, coming off their loss to the San Antonio Spurs, host the Hawks tonight at MSG, a 7:30 tip-off. On the ice, the Islanders took a beating at home at the hands of the Utah Mammoth, falling 7-2 on New Year's Day. The Devils play the Mammoth tomorrow. And the NHL Winter Classic is heading to South Beach. The reigning back-to-back Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers set to challenge the New York Rangers at Lone Depot Park today. That's where the Marlins play their home games. And the matchup marks the league's 17th edition of the annual outdoor game. Will be the farthest south the marquee event has ever been played. The stadium's retractable roof will be open for the puck drop, and Sid Rosenberg will be there among the spectators. The Rangers have won all 5 of their previous outdoor games, including one played against the Devils at MetLife Stadium. That's sports, and I'm James Flippin for 77 WABC News.
77 WABC News, reporting national news.
Influenza activity is surging nationwide as travel and holiday gatherings come to a close. Correspondent Emily Akeda reports it comes amid what was already a very fierce flu season.
Now, more than a dozen states are seeing high or very high flu activity, with 4.6 million cases, 49,000 hospitalizations, and 1,900 deaths from flu so far this season, including 3 children, according to the CDC.
Some areas of the country seeing very high activity.
The city of Chicago announcing emergency visits and hospitalizations have gone from moderate to high, most notably among children under 17. Doctors warning the youngest and oldest are at higher risk of serious complications.
New York State Health Commissioner Dr. James McDonald says the number of flu cases may remain high for quite a while.
I think this is going to get worse before it gets better in New York State.
Yeah, not good news. Veronica Zyrath says her family became sick while traveling for Christmas, including her 7-month-old child.
Checking his oxygen and medicine around the clock. It's just the mental exhaustion plus the physical exhaustion of being sick myself.
Most of the cases are linked to subclade K. That's a mutant strain of the H3N2, also linked to influenza A. The CDC has labeled flu activity very high here in New York and New Jersey, which both announced record weeks. Rhode Island, Louisiana, and Colorado also seeing very high flu activity. There's still time. Get your shots. You won't regret it, as someone currently going through the flu right now. President Trump is postponing tariff hikes on furniture and cabinets until 2027. Tony Waterman with more.
If this delay was not implemented, the tariff rate on imported kitchen cabinets and vanities would have doubled to 50%, and the rate on upholstered furniture like sofas and armchairs would have gone up to 30%. Even with the delay, a 25% tariff remains. Tony Waterman, Washington.
President of Switzerland says the country will hold 5 days of mourning after around 40 people were killed and over 100 injured after a fire at an alpine ski resort. The fire broke out around 1:30 yesterday during a crowded New Year's celebration high in the Swiss Alps. Cops say it could take weeks to identify all the victims. House Democrats plan to observe the 5th anniversary of the 2021 Capitol riot by reconvening their investigation of the attack. Tammy Trujillo with the story.
Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffrey says the House Select Committee will reconvene on Tuesday, January 6th, and examine ongoing threats to free and fair elections posed by what he calls an out-of-control Trump administration. Jeffrey says the committee will also expose the election deniers who hold high-level positions of significance in the executive branch. The Justice Department, meanwhile, says it's still working to bring to justice all those who weaponized January 6th. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
Over on the West Coast, cell phones now being restricted in California public schools starting in the new year. The law was passed back in 2024 by an Assembly member, Josh Hoover.
We crafted this bill very carefully to provide a lot of flexibility when it comes to allowing school districts to craft the policies that work best for their local community.
Hoover, who wrote that bill, says it's needed to stop a mental health crisis.
Test scores improved significantly at schools that banned mobile phone use.
He says in places where it has been tried, like here in New York, test scores tend to go up.
As well as a documented decrease in incidents of bullying.
He says the results have been positive where phones have been banned. The law goes into effect in July, actually, and requires that schools update their policy every 5 years. More from California. They'll soon be able to ask hundreds of companies to delete their personal data. The goal is to limit the exposure of that data.
There's significant concerns about data brokers and how our information is being weaponized against us. And we've seen instances in which people's data is being sold to the government to track our location.
That's Tom Kemp, the executive director of the California Privacy Protection Agency. A new tool called the Delete Request and Opt-Out Platform, or also known as DROP, is aimed at preventing fraud, identity theft, and those annoying spam calls, texts, and emails. Kemp says DROP aims to stop all those issues.
Californians should see a reduction in email and spam, as well as obnoxious text. They should see their information about themselves being reduced on the internet.
State Senator Josh Becker is the author of California's Delete Act.
I'm hoping by the end of the year, people feel like, you know what, this is a very practical thing. They took action. They took control of their data, and they took control of their personal information, and they're able to see the results.
DROP lets people contact companies in one fell swoop on its website. Data brokers, which often sell your personal information like your address, email, web search activity, and, of course, phone number, will start processing deletion requests in August of this year. They must then check the system every 45 days or face fines of $200 per day per customer request, plus any other costs. Tommy Lee Jones's daughter, Victoria, has been found dead at a San Francisco hotel. Victoria Jones, the daughter of famed actor Tommy Lee, was found dead at a California hotel early on New Year's Day. According to reports, she was only 34 years old. Cops arrived at Fairmont San Francisco Hotel around 3:14 in the morning after a report of a medical emergency. Paramedics pronounced a woman identified as Jones dead upon arrival. Bystanders were given instructions to conduct CPR, but apparently she was already dead by the time authorities arrived on the scene. Jones was the daughter of the fugitive actor and his first wife, Kimberly Claufley. The medical examiner will determine and investigate the actual cause of her death. Jones acted when she was younger, appearing alongside her father in Men in Black 2. She also had a role on the TV show One Tree Hill. She also had a role in the 2005 film The Three Burials of Mercedes Estrada, which was directed and starred her father as well. Jones ran into some trouble with the law earlier this year. She was arrested at least 3 times, according to records obtained by the New York Post back in April. She was taken in Napa County for obstructing a peace officer, being under the influence of a controlled substance, and possession of a narcotic-controlled substance. The following month, she was arrested in Santa Cruz County, and in June, back in Napa County, she was busted on domestic battery and domestic violence/elder abuse charges. She was later released on bail. Jones pleaded not guilty in both those cases. The San Francisco medical examiner and representatives for Tommy Lee Jones have yet to comment on this case.
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and busts. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.